The Super Mario Brothers film. Once I realised it was made by the makers of the Minions, a lot of things made sense. Hi, my name's Drew and welcome to another review video on Flying Wiener. Now, if you feel that that wasn't too positive of a first impression, well, that's because that is exactly how I feel about the Super Mario Brothers film. If you want the shortest form of my review, it's very mixed. I enjoyed a lot of elements in it, but generally speaking, it's like you're taking drugs or something because you're rushing through the whole film. There's non-stop action and colours and stuff happening, and I was like, you know, at the end of this, I'm going to need therapy or something because I feel like my brain cells are being killed off and I'm going to have really some kind of, I don't know, attention deficit syndrome or something like that, you know, because it really is quite a thing. But, you know, I don't want to come off too negative. There are a lot of fun things in this. It was just like, it was a bit much. I felt a bit exhausted after seeing the whole thing. I suppose it makes sense to just talk about my background connected with Super Mario. I had a Game Boy. I'm sure my brother will never forgive me for actually losing our very first Game Boy. We had it with this sort of belt to carry, a sort of little pouch that came with it. And we were playing around, I think it was Brussels airport, if I remember correctly. We were playing around with trolleys in this airport because we had a long time to wait, and this thing around my neck was annoying me, so I hung it on one of the trolleys, and then we had to go and catch our flight, and obviously I left the Game Boy behind, you know. I still remember that to this day. I still regret it to this day. But yes, so I actually had a Game Boy with Super Mario on it. So I am familiar with the very old classical ones, sort of Game Boy and the first Nintendo. But everything that comes after that, even just Super Nintendo, Super Mario, I'm not really familiar with. Obviously, I know the characters in general, Nintendo characters in general. You know, I'm familiar with various of these things. But yes, I'm not too big of a Nintendo Super Mario head, just to put it that way. While I didn't buy a Switch at some point, I'm expecting that maybe, now that they're going to make a second one, I might get that because I'm sure it'll open up some fun opportunities for my my daughter and myself, you know, to get into gaming together. I'm sure that'll be a thing. So I'm not against it at all. It's just that I'm more of a PlayStation guy and I've already got too little of time to play computer games. I don't want to get stuck into all the Nintendo stuff as well. Yes, I did actually review the 90s Super Mario Brothers film. If you're like, what Super Mario Brothers film? It's quite possible you haven't heard of it, but it's got Bob Hoskins in it and Dennis Hopper and John Leguizamo as Luigi. It's a very weird film. I still like it to this day. It's only very loosely tied to Super Mario the game. I still think it's fun. If you're interested in my review for that, I'll leave a link to it at the end of this video. Yeah, so that's where I'm coming from. I'm not too big of a Super Mario head, but I was like, yeah, if I get a chance to see it. Also, it was one of the most successful films last year. It made or was it 2023? Now that we're in 2025, I suppose it was the year before. Made a ridiculous amount of money, which I'm really not too sure about, but then again, don't underestimate the desire of young kids to see just chaos and colour explosions on screen, I suppose. Anyway, let's talk about it. So what is this about? If you're not familiar with Super Mario at all, it's not like this. The games have a huge story to tell, but this film as well keeps it rather simple. We've got these two brothers. They're trying to fulfill the lifelong dream of having a plumber company, right? So they want to go around fixing Brooklyn in America. They're not Italian, in case you've heard that. They make a silly thing here, a silly reference to that, where in the advert that they shoot for it, they've got these thick Italian accents, you know, but they don't actually have them. That's not the point. There's this big, the big situation that happens in Brooklyn connected to water, and obviously as they are first-class plumbers, they decide that they need to do this. They need to, you know, help where they can and see what they can do about it. They are then magically transported to the Mushroom Kingdom, which is full of mushrooms, as you can tell. The toads are there. You have Princess Peach, who you might know from the games or promotional material. By the way, just to say, Super Mario, he's played by Chris Pratt. Princess Peach, who's also a very main character of this film, she's played by Anya Taylor-Joy, which I was very surprised about. I was like, hey, okay, maybe she wants to branch out. Can't fault her for that. Yes, Ultimately, what is the story? You have got the big bad Bowser. He's this sort of, I don't know what he's actually supposed to officially be. Is he supposed to be a crocodile? I mean, he's got a turtle shell. I don't know. He's a sort of mix of crocodile and turtle, I suppose. He thinks that if he gets Princess Peach to marry him, they can rule over the kingdom together, right? She doesn't want this. She sees him as the big villain of the place, and she wants to raise an army to go out and defeat him to save all the Toads. And Mario is going along to help her because Bowser has caught his brother Luigi. They were separated when they were transported to this world, and Luigi has been taken prisoner. So that is the basic gist of the story. We're traveling through this world. Mario is trying to help Princess Peach get this army. I won't tell you which, spoilers, to defeat Bowser and get Luigi back. That is the basic gist of it. So it feels a lot like a Super Mario game, which is absolutely fine. The plot isn't anything special, that is okay. But it did, the way it is presented, it made me think a lot about Sonic, which is funny because Sonic and Mario over the decades have always had a bit of a rivalry when it comes to the computer games. But it really made me thankful that the Sonic films have been sort of based and set in our reality, where Sonic is just, you know, a character in it. He's not a video game person transitioning into our world or anything like that. I was really thankful for it because this world, while it feels, you know, big and expansive and colourful, etc., it just felt a bit hollow because there's not much going on, because we've just got one action scene, you know, followed by the next. There's not much being talked about. There's not much character development in the whole film. I get it. They made it, you know, it's just supposed to be a fun display advert for all things Nintendo. And obviously they were hoping on the big child crowd who are obviously not interested in long dialogues and stuff like that. But still, for me, it was a bit, that's why I really preferred the Sonic films, because they had a real heart to them, right? Which I felt lacked in this. While Mario has some development, yes, okay, fine, it didn't feel too special, right? It's just, again, as soon as I learned that this was made by the creators of the Minions, I was like, a lot makes sense, because it's just, it keeps going and going and going, and they bombard you with stuff all the time. It's like non-stop. I was like, my brain feels tired, you know, from watching all of this stuff. And I wasn't even fully focused on it, because, you know, I very early on noticed what was going on, so I was I was folding clothes and stuff, so I was watching it, but, you know, and even that was too much for me at times. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy the stuff that you see, a lot of cheeky references to the games and stuff, which I even got because I'm a bit of a nerd, so I know various little tidbits of information about Super Mario and Nintendo and the world, etc. So that I found was really good. The animation is great, you know, there's nothing to fault about that. With the colours and everything, just too many, I feel, you know, it's just too much at times, but generally speaking, the animation, the quality of it, everything fine. The voice acting, I'm not too sure about. The internet got into quite an uproar when it was announced that Chris Pratt is going to be voicing Mario. I agree, now I haven't seen it, I'm like, why was this the choice? I don't get it. I don't really feel him as Mario. I think it's a really weird choice. I think they just got him because he's like the popular guy now, you know, he's in so many big franchises. So it's like, oh yeah, we need a box office, you know, what would you call it, a guarantee, if you will, you know, just to get things going. But I think that was a really weird choice. Anya Taylor-Joy was fine as Princess Peach. I even enjoyed Jack Black as Bowser. I thought he brought a certain funny element to him, because he's not just a one-note villain, you know, just the things that he does and how he acts, etc. So I enjoyed that a lot more than Mario's portrayal here, who at times just seems boring and is just, I don't know, he doesn't seem too convinced of what he's doing himself. Yeah, I think that's Chris Pratt, wrong casting in my opinion. Other than that, like I say, it's a really sort of hyperactive film, one thing happening, you know, after the other. We don't really get a moment to just sit back and take stuff in and relax and recover or anything like that. So it's good, you know, if you can neglect all those things, it's a good film. It's definitely an entertaining film, I won't deny that. My daughter, she had a great time, but she's 4, you know, so just to give you a comparison there, yeah, so fine for these young kids, they want to watch it again and again probably, and that is why it was so massively successful. But I don't understand quite that level of success, because I feel that you still need some of the heart and stuff, you know, if I compare it to, let's say, Inside Out 2, where it's a lot also about not only the fun stuff that you see on screen, but also the heart, because you need to get the parents in as well. And with Super Mario, I think if you've seen it once, you're like, I think that'll do me for quite some time. you know. Whereas, because I've just mentioned it, Inside Out 2 I could watch again and again. Yeah, because it's got a lot in there for me that makes me think and makes my brain go. But here, it's just popcorn. That's all you can think about, really, because the brain doesn't really get stimulated intellectually that much in this film, which I feel is a shame, because they could have gone at least a bit, you know. Like I say, that's why, as an even more direct comparison, I really prefer the Sonic films, or even just the first one, if you say first film against first film, because I feel it's got a lot more to offer than just the action, etc. Yeah? Yes, that's what I'll say about this film. So, very mixed reaction. Watch it if you want a fun Sunday thing, especially if you've got kids. But yeah, obviously they're going to make a franchise out of it with that level of success. I do hope, though, that further installments are going to offer a bit more in terms of story and characters. That will be all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. It is the best way to support this channel. Leave a comment down below about anything you want to say. If you're an absolute Nintendo fanboy, you might hate that I didn't love the film. And even worse, I made Sonic look better by comparison. What a deadly sin to commit. No, but anything you want to say, put it down in the comments below. You know, anything you want to say about this film, or maybe future films, or comparisons to the games, etc, etc. If you are a Nintendo head, you know, let me know beforehand which games I could probably add to my list if I do ever get a Switch, you know, because like I said, I'm thinking about it, because I'm sure my daughter would enjoy that. Anyway, I'll also leave a link to my review of the Super Mario Brothers film from the 90s, that will be here. So if you're interested in that, click on that. Otherwise, I'll thank you for watching this film, and I'll see you this review video. It's not a film, it's a review video. And I'll see you in the next one on Flying Wiener. Take care, bye.